5. Never look over the port side after midnight. By the 6th night, I'd stopped thinking of the captain's rules as warnings. They were laws older than the ship, older than the sea itself. But Rule 5 was different. It wasn't about giving or withholding. It was about not seeing. Mina told me in the galley, her voice low enough that the hiss of the kettle almost swallowed it. After midnight, you keep your eyes forward, starboard if you must, but never port. I asked why. She didn't answer right away. She just stared at the steam curling from her mug, as if she could read something in it. Because they'll think you're answering, she said finally. That night, the wind died again. The sea went flat, black as oil. The moon was a thin sickle, barely enough light to see the deck. I stayed in my bunk, telling myself I wouldn't look. But the sound came. It wasn't the creak of the hull or the slap of water. It was knocking, slow, deliberate, from just beyond the port rail. 3 knocks. Pause. 3 more. I told myself it was nothing. I told myself to sleep. But then came the voice. It was my mother's. She'd been dead for years, but I knew that voice. The way she said my name like it was a secret. "Come see me," she whispered. I sat up, heart pounding. The voice came again, closer now, as if she were leaning over the rail. "I've been waiting." I swung my legs out of the bunk before I realized what I was doing. My feet carried me to the deck. The air was colder there, sharp enough to sting my lungs. The knocking stopped. The voice didn't. "Just look," she said. "Just once." I stepped toward the port side. My hand was on the rail when Mina's grip closed around my wrist. Her eyes were wide, her face pale in the moonlight. "Don't," she said. "They'll see you." I asked who. She didn't answer. She just pulled me back toward the hatch. The next night, someone else heard the knocking. It was Jiro, the youngest deckhand. He'd been restless all day, pacing the deck, glancing toward the port side like something was calling him. After midnight, I heard the hatch open, footsteps on the deck, then silence. When I went up in the morning, Jiro was gone. No splash in the night, no sign of struggle, just his boots neatly placed by the rail. The captain didn't ask where he'd gone. He just ordered the crew to scrub the port side until the wood was raw. I noticed something then, faint marks along the hull just above the waterline. Not scratches, not barnacles. They were handprints, too long, too thin. On the 8th night, the knocking came again. This time, I stayed in my bunk. I pressed my hands over my ears, but the voice didn't need ears. It spoke inside my head, threading through my thoughts like smoke. It wasn't my mother this time. It was Mina. "They'll give you what you've lost," it said. "All you have to do is look." I bit my tongue until I tasted blood. I thought of the waterkeepers, of Ramon's smile before they took him. I thought of Daniel, whispering his name until the ship claimed him. I didn't move. The voice grew sharper, angrier. The knocking turned to pounding. The hull shuddered with each blow. Then, just as suddenly, it stopped. In the silence that followed, I heard something else. A slow, wet, dragging sound, moving away from the ship. The next day, the captain called me to the bow. He didn't look at me when he spoke. "They're called the drowned," he said. "They're not ghosts. Not exactly. They're what's left when the sea takes someone who won't let go." He told me the drowned can't cross the rail unless you look at them. That's the invitation, the acknowledgement. "They'll wear any face you want," he said. "They'll promise anything. But once you see them, they'll never stop calling." I asked what happens if you answer twice. The captain's jaw tightened. "You don't get a second time." On the 10th night, the voice came again. This time, it wasn't anyone I knew. It was a child crying softly. I lay in my bunk, staring at the ceiling, telling myself it wasn't real. But the crying grew louder, more desperate. Then it stopped, and a new voice spoke. My own. Said my name. It said it the way I say it when I'm afraid. I bit down on my knuckle until I tasted blood. I didn't move, but I knew then the drowned weren't just calling. They were learning.